Thanks for joining me this evening. I'm Dr. Toombs Withers, founder and owner of the Essence of Health Wellness Clinic. What if there was a way of eating that helped you to prevent some of the most common chronic diseases that are affecting fellow Americans today? What if there was a way of eating that not only helped you to prevent those common chronic diseases, but also helped you to reverse those chronic diseases? What if there is a way of eating that helped you to feel more energized and less fatigued? What if there is a way of eating that helped to reduce your risk of common cancers affecting our fellow Americans? As a family physician, much of what I see every day are the effects of chronic diseases that are mostly preventable with the proper nutrition and a healthy lifestyle. A whole food plant-based diet has been shown to help prevent and reverse many chronic diseases, such as diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, coronary artery disease, constipation, and obesity. It has also been shown to lower your risk for certain cancers, including colon cancer and liver cancer. Many people set a New Year's resolution every year to eat better, exercise more, and or lose weight. Some are successful and some are not. However, I would like to share with you some steps to help you begin to achieve some of your personal health goals. A whole food plant-based diet is a way of eating that eliminates meat, poultry, eggs, dairy, oils, and processed sugar from the diet. Salt is also limited. This diet is abundant in fruits, vegetables, beans, nuts, and unprocessed whole grains like quinoa and oatmeal. You won't go hungry when you eat a proper portion of filling fruits and vegetables. Let's imagine your plate for a moment. Fill it with a large serving of steamed broccoli, black beans, red peppers, and brown rice. Season it with garlic powder, onion powder, turmeric, oregano, whatever your favorite herbs are. Have a large portion of fresh or frozen fruit smoothie for dessert. It will not only fill you up, but it'll also leave you feeling well. No heartburn, no feeling of being overstuffed because no oil was used in preparing your meal. No constipation because you just ate lots of fiber with this meal. So you may ask, how do I get started? Well, the short answer is just do it. Start today. Put healthful foods in your mouth. But here's the longer answer. Step 1, remove foods from your refrigerator and your kitchen that may contain animal products, including meats, milk, yogurt, cheese, and eggs. You can choose to donate these items to your local food pantry, or you can decide to stop immediately purchasing these items and just over a short period of time eat what you have for now. Step 2, if you go with the approach of trying to finish off your animal products and dairy products so that you don't waste them, try a meatless Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever the day of the week, you get the idea. This means picking a day that you will go totally meatless and without dairy or eggs on your plate for all of your meals that day. Step 3, think of your favorite meals. Then look for recipes for plant-based versions of those meals. For example, if you're a fan of tacos, make your own taco. Put items such as your favorite beans, brown rice, mushrooms, peppers into your taco. Place your items in a corn tortilla and top them with lettuce, salsa, and avocado. It also helps to find easy to follow recipes. Some of my personal favorite whole food plant-based meal ideas have come from just quick Google searches and websites like Happy Herbivore, Oshi Glows, and Clean Food Dirty Girl. Step 4, don't worry yourself about getting enough of any particular macronutrient. If you eat the rainbow of fruits and vegetables, you shouldn't become nutrient deficient. The only exception to this is vitamin B12. it is a needed supplement in a vegan diet because it is only found in animals. People commonly like to ask a plant-based person, so where do you get your protein? However, this doesn't have to be a concern because plant foods contain protein too. Step 5, do your research. There are some wonderfully written books and inspiring documentaries regarding plant-based diets. Some books that I recommend are the China Study, Eat to Live, and the Happy Herbivore series of books. Some movies that you can stream online include Forks Over Knives, The Engine 2 Rescue, and Plant Pure Nation. So, these are my tips to get you started along your healthful journey. Feel free to chime in now and ask questions. While you all are gathering your questions, I did want to touch on for a second. Some of you may have noticed some scars on my face. And if you follow my Instagram page, you would see a post regarding this. I participated in the Raccoon Mountain Trail Half Marathon earlier this morning. It was a 13.1 mile race on the trails of Raccoon Mountain here in Chattanooga. So I took a couple of falls across some tree roots and some vines, which is also a common hazard of trail running. And I've got a few wounds to treasure the memory. So feel free to ask questions, folks. And thanks for joining me. A lot of times kids don't automatically like to eat vegetables in their natural form, especially if they have been accustomed to eating meat and dairy products. Some of the things you can do, one is smoothies. I'm a big fan of smoothies. We make them a lot here in my house. I have 3 kids, 3 boys. They are 9, 5, and 2. And all 3 of them really love smoothies. And what I do with their smoothies is I throw in big handfuls of spinach or kale. I also add flax seeds, chia seeds to their smoothies. Fruit, their favorite fruits are strawberries and pineapples and bananas. And so what happens is that it's sweet naturally from the strawberries and the bananas, so they really don't know that they're getting such a large amount of vegetables. Another thing that I like to do with them is give them pasta-based dishes, because you can actually create a pretty wholesome meal with pasta. In the sauce itself, it's a good way of adding mushrooms. You can add peppers, tomatoes. You can even throw in beans in pasta. We often here at my house use a bean-based pasta. There are several brands, but some of our favorites are the chickpea-based pasta, as well as the lentil pasta. And so that way they get a large amount of protein and fiber, but then you can also throw lots of vegetables into the sauce itself. I actually started on to a whole food plant-based diet. So for me, I would consider myself on a plant heavy diet for probably about the past 20 years. Actually, I recall my cousin when I was in high school, my older cousin, she had read something somewhere and she said, oh, did you know that, it takes over 30 days for us to really digest beef and meat? And I was like, what? No, that's crazy. And so for us, we just talked about and thought about, what impact this was making on our body by us eating these things. And so then I really just stopped eating any red meat. So from there on, I was a junior in high school and I stopped eating beef and pork products immediately, because I was like, I didn't want my body to be experiencing this thing where it can't break down these things that I was putting into it. As I began college, I majored in biology and just learned more about the way the body works and the way science works and how foods play a part on our body, and actually went vegetarian in college. I had always been lactose intolerant, and so something that I found, some of my favorite foods are ice cream and macaroni and cheese. But whenever I would eat these foods, I wouldn't feel so great. And so for me, I still hadn't made that connection with how to stop eating these things and still have a healthful diet. But in college, I actually went vegetarian, but I was still eating a large amount of dairy products, even though I wasn't eating any meat. And then once I entered medical school, I actually had a classmate and friend who was vegan. And so I saw a lot of how she ate, and she ran a lot and she ate these healthy meals. And I was really interested in learning more from there. And so I just began to do my research, like the books that I mentioned. I listened to the China Study on Audible. I found Happy Herbivore's website, and I started making some of the recipes and reading some of her books. And I watched the movies. I watched Forks Over Knives. I watched the Engine 2 Rescue, and things just really made sense. And so I just really just let go of the dairy, which was the hardest thing, because I really enjoy ice cream and macaroni and cheese. But once I let those things go, my body started feeling better. I started running and not having belly aches with my runs. I was able to recover faster from long distance running. I've run several marathons, and right now I'm training for Ironman Texas. And I've just noticed that being on a whole food plant-based diet, I can do a long workout. I can, ride my bike for 5-6 hours, and the next day still have the energy and not be too sore to be able to do other things in that day. And so it's just really been so important and such a vital part of my life. And so I just wanted to share it with others. And beyond that, just being in the medical field and seeing how these chronic diseases that I see every day impact my patients, and being able to share with them some things that they can do beyond just prescribing medications to help them feel better and to help them overcome and beat some of these chronic diseases that they suffer from. I'll tell y'all a little story. I had a patient several years ago. This guy, he came to me. He was a type 2 diabetic, and it was uncontrolled. He also had high cholesterol and high blood pressure, and he was pretty obese, with a BMI somewhere in the 40s. And so I told him, but he really didn't want to be on any medicine. And so I told him, I said, well, there's something we can do. If you are really serious about changing your lifestyle and changing your diet, then we can quickly, I said, I do have to put you on medicine for now because your diabetes is so uncontrolled, which is dangerous. But we can quickly get you off of these medications if you're willing to make these drastic changes to your diet. And so I sat down with him and I told him about a whole food plant-based diet. I had him stop eating meat, stop eating dairy products. I didn't have him calorie count or limit what he could have in terms of fruits and vegetables. I did have him limit his processed carbohydrates in terms of limiting rice and pasta, those sorts of things. But he was free to eat as much vegetables and fruit as he wanted. And so he came back to me 3 months later, and his A1C dropped from about 10 down to low 7. And it wasn't the medicines that I had given him, because the medicines can do a little bit of this. However, it was really him changing his diet that really made the huge impact on his diabetes. He had also lost quite a bit of weight. And he was just very excited when he came back to his appointment, because he hadn't had any other physician tell him before things that he could do beyond them just prescribing medications to help him beat these diseases that he had. And so he was just very excited to see that he could eat real food, he could feel good about himself, and that he could get off of these medications. And so that 3 months he had come, and we were able to lower the dosages of those medications. And then we honed in a few more things on his diet. He started exercising, and this guy hadn't exercised probably in well over 20 years, but he began to exercise because he felt so great. And then the next 3 months he came back, and we were able to take away some medications. And so just seeing the impact that it has on patients is very important to me, and what has driven me really to open the Essence of Health Wellness Clinic. Just to touch on that a little bit, the way traditional medicine works, I'm often limited in the time that I have to see patients and in the amount of teaching and actually talking to my patient that I can do. Most in the traditional way that medicine is practiced, if you go into the clinic, you're usually booked into a 15-minute appointment. Most people don't know this, but you're only given 15 minutes. And that 15 minutes also includes the amount of time it takes for that medical assistant to check you in, for them to get your vital signs, weigh you, check your blood pressure, all of those things, get your medications into the computer, and that includes the time for me to see you. So a lot of things are to happen in that 15 minutes. And that's what ends up with people feeling like, oh, well, the doctor just rushed me through and I really didn't get to ask any questions. I really don't feel like I was listened to. I really, didn't feel like I left here with anything that I can feel better about. I just received some medicines and I was on my way. Well, that's because your doctor has been limited by these 15-minute appointments. And so one of the things I want to do with the Essence of Health Wellness Clinic is be able to give you extended times, appointments that last as long as an hour if you need to. Also, unlimited visits so that once you pay your membership fee, you're able to come back the next week if you have more questions, or you're able to email me or text me if you have more questions. I don't have to rush you through in 15 minutes. I can spend that longer time with you. We can talk. You can bring your list of questions. We can discuss. We can research together if we need to as to how to make you feel better and how to improve your health and help you to achieve your health goals. So feel free to continue to tune in on the Facebook page. I also have an Instagram page at Essence of Health Wellness Clinic. And the website is now up at Essence of Health Wellness Clinic. If you take a look there, it features more details regarding the setup of the clinic, the membership model, what direct primary care is. There's a nice video there to sum it up. Okay, I will chat a little bit more then, since there are no specific questions. One of the other things we can touch on this month of March is, here's a question. What substitutions do you suggest for someone with nut allergies? That's a wonderful question, because that is a common thing that we're finding now, that many people do have particular nut allergies, including peanut allergies. Some people are even allergic to almonds and other types of nuts. So to answer your question, beans are a wonderful substitution because beans provide you with more than enough fat. Usually what you're getting from the nut itself is the fat content. You're getting healthy fats. So beans also provide you some of that healthy fat, but they also give you protein and are filling. So if you have a nut allergy, I would say go with beans if it's something in a particular recipe. Now, if we're talking about milk items, because it's very common now to see almond milk and coconut milk and cashew milk in grocery stores. So some substitutions that you can make with your milk are oat milk. There's flax milk out on the market now. Soy milk even is a good substitution. Because it's nut free, but sometimes you may find people that are allergic to soy in addition to nuts. But flax milk, rice milk, oat milk are great substitutions. Another question, do you recommend juicing? Yes, juicing can be a wonderful way to get in some nice nutrients as well as good servings of fruits and vegetables in your diet. You can juice, but you can also make smoothies just in your blender. But if you have a juicer, that's great. The thing that juicing does take away is it does remove the fiber from what you're getting. And so that's really the difference between juicing versus making a smoothie, is that fiber is removed when you juice because it comes out as pulp. But it's still a way that you can get some wonderful vitamins and some nutrients from the fruits and the vegetables that you put into your juicer. I love beet juice. It's one of the things that I commonly drink after a long workout because it has great anti-inflammatory properties. And so, yes, I do recommend juicing. Another question is, do you have recommendations for meal subscription services with good vegan options? Yes. One of the services that I personally subscribe to is Purple Carrot. Purple Carrot, the way it works is they send you a box every week. And in that box, it includes three entree type meals. And these meals, they can be great for either a lunch or dinner, but the servings are enough to feed 2 people. And so you get 6 servings of meals per box. And you pay that weekly fee. When they send you the items, it comes with several ice packs in the box so that you know that you're getting fresh food. And a lot of the items are organic, which is great. And so they send you things in the box. Some of my favorite meals have been one of the tofu meals with barley. They will send you an onion. They send you the things whole. You do have to chop, so it does take a little bit of prep in terms of chopping, but they send you the correct portion, so you don't have to worry about measuring anything or weighing anything. It's all portioned out. You just chop up what you need. They send you a recipe book, so which is nice because if you want to repeat that meal on your own another time, then you have that recipe book there and you can recreate that meal. So I really like Purple Carrot. There are some other meal subscription services. Vistro is another one. Excuse me. I have subscribed to Vistro in the past. I've also subscribed to Plant Pure Nation has a meal subscription of frozen meals. And so the difference in Plant Pure Nation meals versus Vistro and even Purple Carrot is Plant Pure Nation meals are truly whole food plant-based, meaning that they don't contain any oil, they don't contain any salt or sugar added to them. The foods that you get from Purple Carrot, they don't contain any sugar or salt, but they do have, sometimes they want you to include oil, which you can choose to go without oil in your cooking. You just have to know how to make that substitution. And for me, I will say I use vegetable broth a lot. So when something says to saute onions or garlic, I saute in vegetable broth instead of oil. But Plant Pure Nation meals are already prepared, so they come in they're a frozen meal subscription, which is nice when you're short on time and don't feel like cooking some of the time to have a whole food plant-based meal that's already frozen and ready to go. In terms of easy vegan recipes, I highly recommend Happy Herbivore and the Forks Over Knives app. They actually both have apps now. Happy Herbivore's app is called Meal Mentor. And that one is a subscription-based app. She has like a monthly subscription, but she also has a yearly subscription that you can do, which includes like a private Facebook group and some other things. But the reason I like Happy Herbivore, and it's really easy, you can find her books on Amazon to find the recipes, and they're even free recipes online. But the reason I like them is most of the meals are things you commonly have in your home already. You don't have to go to Whole Foods or any fancy grocery store and buy anything special. A lot of her meals include everyday items, beans, spinach, pasta, lentils. She cooks a lot with fruits to be used in the desserts, are fruits to be used as the sweeteners. So they're just really easy and simple to follow and very healthy for you. Forks Over Knives, really same deal. They have an app for all of their recipes, and they're also very easy to follow recipes, very common foods that you may already have in your refrigerator. So you don't really have to go searching for anything, particularly in the grocery store, which is nice. And I do want to share with you all the Essence of Health Wellness Clinic. We are excited that we have set in on a location We will be located off Martin Luther King Boulevard, near downtown Chattanooga. We are in the process of remodeling the space, so that we can be welcoming to start seeing you all on June 1st. We will start pre-enrollments on the website as of April 1st. And once again, you can go to the website and learn more about the way the memberships will work, and you can also pre-enroll. Because I will be limiting the number of patients that I will be accepting, in traditional medical models and traditional medical clinics, a doctor may have 2,000 or more patients on their panel. And what a patient panel means is just the number of patients that doctor sees day in and day out and manages in terms of messages and medication refills and test results and those things. And so traditionally a doctor may have upwards of 2,000 or more patients that they're managing. But for me to be able to give more personalized care, give you those extended times for your office visits, to give you that personal care in terms of being able to email with me or text message me or video chat with me, I am limiting my patient numbers to 500 to 600 patients. And so what pre-enrollment gets you is so that you can reserve your space. Pre-enrollment will begin on April 1st, and you can find out more information about that on the website, and you'll be able to pre-enroll on the website once we open that up on April the 1st. It's Colon Cancer Awareness Month, this month of March. And so colon cancer is one of those cancers that can actually be prevented with the whole food plant-based diet. The way that works, when we eat meat, it increases inflammation in the colon. It puts us at risk of constipation, which prevents our colon from removing those toxins naturally as we would when we have bowel movements. And ingestion of meat can lead to polyps as part of that inflammatory process. So when we eat a whole food plant-based diet, one, it has lots of fiber in that way of eating so that you don't develop constipation. And when your bowels are moving good, your body's naturally able to get rid of a lot of those toxins from your body. And this doesn't require any particular colon cleansing or any particular tonic drink or anything. It just requires you to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables and to not eat any meat, dairy, or oils. And so the other way a whole food plant-based diet works is if you read the China study, they did science and showed how certain receptors and markers are turned off or on depending on if you eat meat and dairy versus if you don't. And plants are able to turn these cancer-causing markers off to help lower your risk. And so by this being Colon Cancer Awareness Month, it's just all the more reason for you to make that change today. If you decide today that you're just going to really eat more fruits and vegetables in your diet and you're limiting or eliminating those meats and dairy products from your diet for your health. Another thing I want to touch on is the role that exercise plays in a healthy diet. So exercise is great because what it can do is it makes your heart strong. So when we exercise, it causes our heart to pump more. And our heart is a muscle. And so the more that heart pumps and the more that heart is able to rev up and get moving, and then that heart gets stronger and it's better able to perfuse your body with blood. And so when you exercise, it helps to regenerate that blood better through your body. It helps to prevent blockages of those blood vessels because this blood is perfusing so well through your body. So that also lowers your risk of cardiovascular disease. I have a question. Will I be able to get this broadcast later? Yes, this broadcast will be posted on my YouTube page, which is also Essence of Health Wellness Clinic. So you can subscribe there and be able to get this broadcast. And it also should continue to appear on the Facebook page. I'll just talk a bit more about the practice and the memberships. So the cost of the memberships for Essence of Health Wellness Clinic, the direct primary care practice, are age-based. And the reason for this is because as we age, we do tend to have more health problems, and we tend to require more management for health problems as well as for prevention of health problems. As we age, there are a lot more preventative things that are warranted and needed in an older population versus a younger population. As a family medicine physician, I am board certified in family medicine, and I am trained to see children as well as adults. That includes babies and that includes seniors. So the way the membership models will work, children ages 0 to 20 years old will be $20 a month. Adults ages 20 to 40 years old will be $70 a month. Adults ages 40 to 60 years old will be $80 a month. And those adults that are over the age of 60 will be $90 a month. There will also be a one-time $75 registration fee, which will be capped for families of 3 or more living in the same household at $150. So those are the way the membership models will work. And what we strive to do really is just keep the pricing simple. The only other cost that you will find will be the cost of your lab tests, which there will be discounted labs with local lab companies here in town. Any imaging tests that you needed, those will also be at a discount. Medications, we'll be able to dispense those medications through the office and be able to get you discounted prices on those. Another great question. Do you have some tips for how to get started for newbies? Hi, Ralph. Thanks for tuning in. So actually, I did start with some tips for newbies to get started. So I'll just go back through those and highlight them again for you. And then just for anyone else out there, if you replay this broadcast after it's over with, you can also get more details on these tips too. So tip number 1, I say, is just really to get started. So remove foods from your refrigerator and your kitchen that may contain any animal products, including meats, yogurt, cheese, and eggs. The reason I say remove them is because when things aren't available to us, then we don't tend to long for them or want them. But it's more tempting if it's still there in your refrigerator or in your pantry to want to eat or drink those things. And some things I tell people is you can donate them to a local food pantry. People who are underprivileged or underserved, can benefit from having your food. Or you can just decide that, as of this day, I'm not going to purchase any more eggs, meat, or dairy. But I'm going to just finish off what I have because I don't want to waste my food, which is totally fine too, because I believe in not promoting food waste. But step 2, if you go with the approach of finishing off your animal products or your dairy products, I recommend that you try a meatless day. So whether that be like a meatless Monday or meatless Tuesday, whatever day you pick for your meatless day, this just really means that you pick a day where you don't eat any meat or dairy or eggs for all of that day. And so by having a meatless day or 2, even in your week, you can begin to change, to process in your mind and in your body how to eat plant-based while you're still finishing off the other things that may still be in your refrigerator or in your pantry. Step 3 was think of your favorite meals and then look for plant-based versions of that meal. And so one example I have is just because we like tacos in my house is tacos. But you can make your own tacos. You can put beans, brown rice, mushrooms, peppers, jalapenos, really whatever you eat in your usual taco. Just leave out the meat and the cheese from the taco. I recommend you put it in a corn tortilla. Most corn tortillas don't have any oil added to them. They're just corn and water. And you can actually mold them by putting them in the oven, or you can leave them soft and just microwave them for a few seconds and have them still soft, like a soft tortilla. Then you can top it with lettuce, salsa, avocado, corn, what have you. And then quick Google searches as well as websites like Happy Herbivore, Oh She Glows, Clean Food Dirty Girl will have a lot of easy to follow recipes, very healthy recipes to follow. So if you're craving a certain thing, you can learn how to veganize it, as we say. Step 4 is really don't worry about getting enough of any particular macronutrient. If you just focus on eating the rainbow of fruits and vegetables, you really shouldn't be deficient of any particular nutrient. When I say eat the rainbow, I mean a rainbow of foods. So whether that be red peppers, green broccoli, brown rice, carrots, a rainbow of foods on your plate. And that way you cover all of your nutrients. The only exception to this is vitamin B12, because vitamin B12 is only found in animal products. And so I recommend that you do supplement vitamin B12. And step 5 was to do your research. There are some great books and inspiring documentaries out there on plant-based diets. Some of the books that I recommend are the China Study, Eat to Live, Happy Herbivore series of books. Some movies that I recommend that you can stream them online, Netflix or Amazon Prime. Forks Over Knives, The Engine 2 Rescue, Plant Pure Nation, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead is another one. So these were the tips that I had to help people get started who may be new totally to a plant-based lifestyle. Another question is, a plant-based diet beneficial to diabetics? Yes, it certainly is. Thanks, Joy, for asking this question and for tuning in. I actually spoke about a patient that I had who was a diabetic when he came to me, and he had pretty uncontrolled diabetes. And so what I did, is I did have him start on his diabetes medications, but I also talked to him about some changes he could make to his diet and put him on a whole food plant-based diet. And he really stuck with it because he really didn't want to be on medicines. And so he was just really, really wanting to do something different to change his life and to heal himself from this diabetes. And so what he did was, the next 3 months that he came back to me, his A1C actually dropped from about 9 to 7 in those 3 months. And it wasn't so much of the medications, because most of the medications, if you look at the research, they'll only drop the A1C about 1 point. But it's really diet and exercise that really makes the difference there. And so he had just really done a tremendous job of changing his diet to a more whole food plant-based diet. And eventually we were able to get him off of his medication by just him changing his diet, and he became more energized, he had less fatigue, and so he really changed his life with his diet. So yes, I highly recommend a whole food plant-based diet for diabetes, for reversing diabetes as well as for preventing diabetes too. Another question was, do you recommend taking beta-glucan supplements? So my take on supplements are that I really would prefer you get as much as you can from your diet. And I don't really recommend people take a whole ton of supplements. And the reason why is because a lot of the supplements aren't really regulated. We have a Food and Drug Administration in our country that regulates a lot of our food and a lot of our medications. But supplements aren't regulated by the Food and Drug Administration. So I really prefer that people don't depend on supplements, but they depend on eating a healthful diet and exercising and improving whatever they can, just naturally. Our body has an innate ability to want to be healthy and to want to heal itself. And so if we just really feed our body good things and we treat our body well, we meditate and get ourselves in a good mood, and we exercise and move our body and get our blood pumping good, and we eat that rainbow of nutrients, then we really don't have to have a ton of supplements in our diet. So I can't necessarily say that I recommend any particular supplement over the vitamin B12, except for the vitamin B12 like we talked about, and that's just because it can't be found in a vegan diet. So I do recommend a vitamin B12 supplement. But beyond that, you really can get pretty much all what you need in your diet. Another question I had was, what states can you take patients from? So the way it currently works, I can take patients from, I'm currently licensed in Georgia, Tennessee, Iowa, and Nebraska. However, the way things work in medicine, that I do need to establish a patient-physician relationship with you to be able to manage your care. So what that looks like is if you are in, if you're in Georgia, then you are more than welcome to drive here to Chattanooga and see me, at least for an initial visit, so that we can establish that physician-patient relationship. And then we can manage a number of things by way of video conference or email or text messaging that way. But yes, I am licensed in those 4 states: Georgia, Tennessee, Iowa, and Nebraska. What brand of B12 do I recommend? So the brand of B12 that I personally take, I order it off of Amazon. I will say that I'm not really stuck on any one brand of vitamins. And the way that you can really tell the vitamins are working is with the blood test. It's simple to do. It's simple to draw your B12 level, especially if you're feeling symptoms of a possible B12 deficiency, which can sometimes include neurological type symptoms, whether that be numbness and tingling, sometimes fatigue, sometimes even a brain fog sensation, so not being able to gather your thoughts or having memory issues. Those would all be reasons to test for B12. And so it's really not a specific one brand that you have to have, but I just do recommend that you take a B12 supplement. And the way that supplement can look, you can take a 2,500 microgram supplement once a week. That would be good enough. You can, but if you're particularly deficient, you may even want to be on a 1,000 microgram supplement every day of the week to make sure that you have enough B12. Best time of day to take your B12 is really whenever you can remember it. So like I said, you can, if you do the high dose 2,500 microgram supplement, you can take it one time a week and that should be sufficient. If you do that lower 1,000 microgram daily, just the best time of day is the time that you can remember to take it. Thanks for asking questions, you guys, and thanks for tuning in. What else can I answer for you? Okay, so more about the way direct primary care works. So direct primary care is a way of delivering primary care medicine and services to a population, which doesn't include taking any insurance or taking out the middleman, if you will. The way medicine has gone to is that insurance companies and hospital administrators have a large determinant factor in how we practice. And so direct primary care, it offers the care directly to you as the patient. It takes out that middleman of the insurer telling me that I can only give you medicine A, even though I may feel that medicine B may be more helpful to you. It takes out that hospital administrator telling me that I can only give you 15 minutes of my time when you actually need 60 minutes of my time to help you. And so that's why my clinic will be a direct primary care type of clinic, to really be able to offer you as the patient a better way of managing your care. Another question I have is, can I go plant-based if I have cancer? Yes, you can. and being plant-based can actually help with your cancer. Depending on the type of cancer you have and depending on the stage of cancer you have, it may not be able to reverse your cancer by being plant-based, but it can certainly help your body to have a boost in terms of helping to boost your immune system to help you fight off that cancer better. It can also help your body to fight fatigue that's commonly associated with cancer, and sluggishness that's commonly associated with cancer, and to just make you feel better overall. There are a lot of studies that have been done related to cancer and plant-based diets. I encourage you to look up and read the China study, for one, because it talks a lot about cancer and plant-based diets. A lot of these studies have been done on Asian populations because Asian populations tend to eat a more plant-based diet, and they tend to suffer from less of the types of cancers that we have here in America. So yes, certainly you can go on a plant-based diet, and a plant-based diet can still have tons of benefits for you if you have cancer. For those of you watching, are some of you already plant-based, or are you considering going plant-based, or have you even just incorporated more plants into your diet? Are there brands of plant-based foods that are better? Well, I guess that depends on what types of foods you're looking at. So there are certainly going to be some brands that taste better than other brands. When you talk about some of the plant-based substitutions, there are a lot of plant-based meat substitutions. There are a lot of plant-based cheese substitutions out there, and so there are going to be some brands that taste better than others in terms of that. But the cleaner that you can eat in terms of being whole food plant-based and really just eat more natural foods that are out there, in terms of, you know, your fruits and your vegetables and your legumes, your beans, your nuts, you'll certainly do better in terms of being helpful versus trying to find substitutions that are similar. Thanks for asking. Another question is plant-based and athletes. Are there any modifications that have to be made for athletes? I will say yes and no. I'm currently training for Ironman Texas, which is a full Ironman event. It includes a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and 26.2 mile run. I'm all in one day. And in terms of modifications to plant-based diet, no, you still don't have to eat any meat or dairy to feel full or to power through your workouts. Really, the difference is making sure you even eat more cleanly. Times that I eat fast food, and when I say fast food, for me, that's like maybe Asian food from the Chinese food restaurant that has like oil or something in it. I definitely will feel more sluggish. So just eating more clean foods, eating good carbohydrates in terms of sweet potatoes, oatmeal, even regular white potatoes in the diet. Those good carbohydrates are good for energy and for fueling through your workouts. I also, in my workouts, use date-based nutrition bars. So like Lar bars and also Load Bar. Load Bar is a locally made bar here in Chattanooga. And so it has organic natural products in it. You know, these bars are sweetened with dates. They have nuts in them. And these are good sources of fuel for a plant-based athlete. Another thing I like to do after long workouts is I will have a beet smoothie or a beet juice after my workouts, because beets have natural anti-inflammatory properties, and I have found that incorporating beets after a long workout does help me to recover more quickly, so that the next day I can go on to do another long workout after having a pretty hard workout. So those are the modifications in terms of that. But no, you don't have to worry about additional proteins or any other macronutrients. I've heard that some spices aren't always vegan. Is that true? Yes, there can be some spices that are not vegan, particularly sauces. Worcestershire sauce commonly contains anchovies, and so it's not vegan. There are some other spices that may have flavoring or natural flavors, which a lot of people will call it, and those things can not always be vegan or meat free. Gelatin is a common thing that people don't really realize that's not vegan. And so a lot of foods you may think are vegan, for instance, Jell-O, or for people, may eat a candy or some jelly even that has gelatin in it. Gelatin is not vegan. Gelatin is actually made from ground up animal products. And so even though it's commonly used in foods that you wouldn't think is a meat, like Jell-O you wouldn't think is a meat, but Jell-O is not vegan for that reason, because of the gelatin that's in it. I did have a question about mentioning those books and movies again that I named. The books that I named are The China Study, which is by Thomas Campbell, Eat to Live, which is Dr. Furman, and Happy Herbivore, which is by Lindsay Nixon. Those were the books that I recommended. And those movies that you can stream online are Forks Over Knives, The Engine 2 Rescue, and Plant Pure Nation were the movies I recommended. And also Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead is another one. That one features a guy who went from a traditional American diet to juicing, whole food plant-based juicing, to reverse many of his chronic diseases. And so that's another entertaining one to take a look at. So I'm just going to wrap up in these last couple of minutes, unless you all have more questions. I really appreciate you joining me this evening and spending some of your Saturday with me. This video will be rebroadcasted on my YouTube page at Essence of Health Wellness Clinic. Feel free to subscribe. It should also appear on this Facebook page. You can also catch me on Instagram at Essence of Health Wellness Clinic, and continue to follow me on Facebook at Essence of Health Wellness Clinic. Let's see, there's one more question. Where do we email or how do we connect? The website is essenceofhealthwellnessclinic.com. And there is a contact link where you can hit the contact button, and it sends me an email for any other further questions you have. So you can also feel free to send me a Facebook message with any other questions. So thanks so much for joining. Have a good evening. Remember, the essence of health is in you.